back to another ABE update, and we are now in the middle of July, and we are on Sunday the 17th of July. For this message, it's a fairly long one, longer than normal, and it's in 3 paragraphs. So I thought it would be more appropriate, rather than reading all the way through it initially, because there's quite a lot of information in there, I would read each paragraph and then give my comments on the paragraph before moving to the next paragraph. I thought that might be more suitable this time. So I'll get to it, and I will read the first paragraph from the 17th of July of 2022. And the theme this time is the theme of being, or beingness. You see, what you will hear more and more so in these times present, being. But you see, many who do so speak of it intend only one part of yourselves. For you see, they say it is where love, peace, and happiness lie. But you see, it is also where anger lies too. It is where a myriad of human emotions lie, for all of them are fleeting, ever-changing. It's the holding on that only sees for them to remain, to put you off balance. What we say here now is with great reverence. But you see, it must be brought up now. Being is allowing your entirety, is it not? For you, idealization sees another in peace, in happiness, and you want that too. So you seek what being is, and you look around, and you try to become something other that is far away from being. Do you see this bind that you do so get yourselves into? What we say here is, be wary of the one that says it is here, you just have to be. For you see, it's in the seeing only that you are indeed already being. It is in the awareness of it, you see, for you are already doing it. You are being. Okay, so this is the first paragraph. So on the theme of beingness, Abe says that you're going to hear more and more talk about this in these times. But many speak about it as only one part, like you have to find love or peace or happiness. And they said, well, but also anger lies there. It's all the emotions that are part of yourselves, but they're fleeting. They're ever changing, and it's holding on to them that puts you off balance. So it seems to me that what Abe is saying is that, these notions of happiness and peace and all the emotions we experience, they're part of our persona, our personality. They're not really part of our being or our state of consciousness. And so they're fleeting. And so by actually looking to those aspects for our beingness, we're being taken off course. And they say, being is allowing your entirety, is it not? The entirety of the human body, mind, vessel. And it says that for you, idealization sees another in peace and happiness, and you want that too. And you look around and try to become something other, something far away. In fact, Abe, I don't recall Abe using that word before, idealization, but it seems appropriate here, in that Abe is saying that we idolize these totems of happiness and peace and these kind of trigger words. And we're running around trying to become them, but all we're doing is getting further away from where we need to be. So these peace, happiness, love totems become our external idolizations, like an external religious God idolization, and that takes us further away from where we need to be. It says that for you see, it's in the seeing only that you indeed are already being. It's in the awareness. Seeing is another way of saying perceiving. So, to be, our beingness is our understanding of our perception, our awareness, our consciousness, and that we already are in it. We don't have to idolize these external notions of whatever we believe love, peace, happiness to be. Um, and so I now read the second paragraph. You see that a human being on your planet is not the overlording, although you have come to know yourselves as such. No, not at all. You have placed yourselves in hierarchy to everything else. What the point is, to place yourselves in the middle, for that is what you indeed are, the balance. For this here, we do not mean this in such ways of placement, but more so as a system. For when allowing this to be, you will be much better placed, you see. For that is what you are, a steward of equilibrium now. You are relational beings, that is. So why do you continue to take yourselves further away from this? Even in your search for equilibrium, for you will not find it when you will not relate. Interesting here that I think the theme on beingness has got into the subject of hierarchy and where we place ourselves. And Abe says that, the human beings on our planet have tried to be overlording, the elites, or someone having authority, or someone higher than you, someone superior in status or position to somebody else. We're always placing ourselves in hierarchy to something else. And Abe says that's not the point. The point is to place yourselves in the middle, but not in terms of placement, in terms of balance. And that's what we need to seek. Not the physical placing or the placing in terms of competition or status, but a space of balance. And that's what Abe says. We do not mean this in such a way of placement, i.e. a position, but a way of system. A system is all-inclusive, interconnective. And when you allow this to be, you're much better placed. When you are allowing yourself and allowing your equilibrium, that's the best place to be. Interesting phrase there. This is what you are, a steward of equilibrium now. Well, perhaps we always were, but it's so much more important now in these times that the human being, the individual, becomes a steward of equilibrium. So all that is going on around us in the physical world and all the dissonance and disruption, we need to be placed in equilibrium in ourselves. So why do you continue to take yourselves further away from this? Good question. Even in your search for equilibrium, you will not find it when you cannot or will not relate. So again, it's this, we have to not feel ourselves in isolation, because we are obviously connected to the consciousness, the expanded consciousness beyond the human realm. And we are relating to everything. We are relating to people and the physical world, as well as relating to the non-visible or the field of consciousness. We're always relating to this. And we have to understand that in order to find that equilibrium. If we cannot relate to the greater consciousness or the greater field beyond the human being, then we can't find out balance. And the final paragraph, you see, there have been many before who would say that to know yourselves, truly know yourselves, is to be solitary, that you should indeed go off into the woods, out of life. But you see, at some point, that would have been beneficial. What is now so is that even taking yourselves off, are you not still in relation to? Yes. You may have reduced the outer noise, only you then allow your inner. In this form, you are never not in relation to. And rather than running from it, trying in some way to stop it, would it not be wise as to allow? And indeed, it is right here. Otherwise, you simply continue to put it off and off and off. It is then no differing from a want to succeed, to catch it and have it, if you will. But then you will always be in attainment of something in which you already have, you are. You see? While most of the world is fighting for position of being somebody, being placed, do not be afraid of being nobody, of being misplaced at this time. There is much to be said in this and will quickly become apparent in the coming times. So the final paragraph says that in the past, many people would have said that to truly know ourselves is to be solitary, to go off into the cave, into the woods, out of life, the notion of like the hermit and the solitary mystic. And Abe says at some point that would have been beneficial. It may have worked in a previous time, but not now. Even if we try to take ourselves off, we're still in relation to. You cannot run away from consciousness. You're still in relation to something. You have to acknowledge that. You may have reduced your outer noise, but you still have the inner realm. You can't escape the inner realm no matter where you go. So it's not a case necessarily of being solitary. And if you're trying to run away from it, trying to stop it, you cannot. Would it not be wiser to allow it, says Abe? Allow that relation, that inner relation, rather than to try to cut off the world, because yes, you can lower the outer noise, but you're still in relation to the consciousness. And it's right there. If we don't acknowledge it's right there, we simply put it off and off and off, says Abe. And then you're no different from wanting to succeed or catch it or attain something. If you put off this relation to consciousness, we just go back into the kind of human physical realm of wanting possessions, attainment, and something else, something other than what we already have access to. And finally, Abe says that most of the world is fighting for position of being somebody, being placed. Again, the notion of hierarchy, being placed in the world here, and status, being somebody important, somebody recognized, somebody praised by the world, etc. But do not be afraid of being nobody, of being misplaced at this time. Perhaps people are worried about being not in the right place or not fitting in with other people or the narratives or what's going on in the world. And Abe says it's okay to feel misplaced, because what is placement? Placement of hierarchy, placement of status, of conformity. It's okay to be misplaced out of those kind of expectations. Don't afraid of being nobody. Nobody, not in ourselves, because we're always somebody, but nobody in terms of those references. The references the world creates. You've got to be somebody, you've got to make it in life, you've got to be recognized. It's okay to step away from all those expectations, all those definitions. In those terms, we could be a nobody. But then we get the space to become who we really need to be, if we can step away from those kind of definitions and categories. There's much to be said in this, says Abe, which will be apparent in the coming times. So I also feel in the coming times, this how we position ourselves, where if we can position ourselves in a place of equilibrium, outside of these mass narrative status symbols of hierarchy, of wanting to be somebody, if we can be quiet, be okay of being misplaced in terms of those external narratives, and of being in a place of balance and relation to our being and the consciousness and access allowing of the greater consciousness, then we have it. So I think that's some important messages there from the 17th of July. Okay, until next time.